Steel yourself.
Dodge this!
Beware of what falls.
What up, boys? Back with another YouTube video. I made some changes to my Ice Mercenary build here, and I finally got to the end game. Was realizing I didn't have the right power slotted into kind of the right area. I wanted to go for more of like a boss fighting kind of build. The clearing of waves all comes from Herald of Ice here, which I think does a fantastic job of that. It's just getting them to freeze and then fragment rounds, explode everything and kind of clear the entire screen. But I really wanted to do a boss fighting witch hunter kind of a build. So now I'm starting to end game, as you can see. Tier 1 maps, finally started that, so congrats to me. Did a couple maps, and I want to get into my third and fourth ascensions, then really gear into just endgame boss fighting. Like, I really just want to fight bosses. So this build is 100% geared towards that, but I mean, it still has the crazy wave clear of Herald of Ice, which we even see now is in monk builds. Seems like all the monks are going Herald of Ice too. So the main change from the last video that I made was I just got a third support gem in here, and I just threw in that 100% crit chance against enemies that are full life. Because when Herald of Ice procs, it's not going to freeze everybody within the area. It'll just simply explode off the first frozen guy, and then once he dies, and then it'll explode off the next one, and then it'll just keep chaining along. So because of that, I feel like having the crit really helps out, because it'll do a lot more damage for the enemies that are full on life, because I won't actually be hitting those enemies on the other end of the screen, even like past where my screen looks for endgame, because there's so many mobs. Everything else is exactly the same here. Still focusing on using Glacial Bolt here. Definitely will try to get more gem slots there later on. And then switching Arctic Ice, which I might switch out. I don't know. I don't like it too much. I don't think it does too much. That's one thing that I really need to look into, and if you guys have suggestions, definitely throw them in there. I throw Time of Need on to get mana regen and have it last, have it do really well here when I'm fighting bosses. And then I might even throw in Vitality as well too. Like, I might switch Vitality into here, because mana regen is not the biggest deal in the world when it comes to this build. So the one thing I also do need to gear up for is my gear is not great. I will admit that. That's one thing I really do need to hunt into and search for. I want a better crossbow here. I really want to focus in on getting the attack speed. I really want to focus in on not having you know, different projectiles. Like, it's not needed really. It's really not needed having like 3 or 2 Glacial Bolt, Fragment Bolt. It's not great, but I do want to then get into better gear. Right now I'm trolling and I'm trying something out of just using life and seeing how this is going to work, but yeah, definitely need to go evasion and energy shield. That's for sure the way to go. I tried out armor and evasion, as you can see here. Not the best. It just gave me great strength and like intelligence for other parts of the build and other skill gems and things like that. But going into my passive tree here, so this is what I've changed into. I had Zealous Inquisition before, 10% chance of killing the enemies that explode, dealing 100% of their max life, physical damage. Like, I was like sitting there today and I was like, this literally makes no sense. There's no reason to have this because Herald of Ice will always proc. It's got a 100% chance to proc when you kill somebody that's frozen, and all I'm doing is freezing everybody. So why do I need it to proc twice? Like, why do I need a Herald of Ice proc into a Zealous Inquisition proc? That makes no sense to have Explosion and another Explosion. Especially when I have the crit chance now, I'm thinking it should clear enough waves of mobs, and it definitely does. So I threw it all into No Mercy here. Again, I'm gonna gear towards boss fighting. I really want to make just a Witch Hunter boss fighter crazy build here. So because of that, I threw everything to No Mercy. This works on concentration here. Concentration, again, is based on the cooldown recovery rate, I think, which is then, or concentration's based on max health. Yeah, the max concentrations are based on their max health. And you break their concentration on a hit that it's equal to 100% of damage dealt here. So I really want to work on that. Cooldown, again, is not... It's not useful, honestly. There's no cooldowns in this build, really. Like, grenade build would be great for cooldown reduction, but it's not really useful in this build. But other than that, I don't think this is great. Passive skill points becoming weapon set skill points. I don't think that really helps out. I haven't really tried it out, but I might have to try it out. But I'm not 100%. Don't think it does too much. Decimating Strike, I definitely want to get to. I want to get to Culling and Decimating Strike, Judge, Jury, Executioner after this, because I really want to, again, boss fighting with Culling Strike and Decimating Strike will be absolutely insane. Extra damage for those that are low on life. It'll be crazy. I don't think the armor evasion here does too much because I was thinking about going this way, armor evasion, for tankier for boss fights, but it really isn't too great. Everything else, skill tree is still the exact same as what I had before, except now I'm gonna gear more towards attack speed. So I recently found out like reload speed isn't a major issue. I definitely wanted to go into reload speed beforehand. But with reload speed, like if I'm just switching between Glacial Bolt to Frag Rounds, if I'm just switching between the two, or if I'm literally just sitting on Glacial Bolt, the reload speed's like super fast, like 0.85 seconds, so it's like 10% of that, you know, is just 0.08. So taking 10% off, which is a couple nodes, is like it's not even worth it. Having attack speed is much better because I can fire off more bullets per second, basically. And it does help with reloading as well, because I'm switching between the two guns. I then went into all of these down here, which I want to start going into, start getting some attack speeds over here and blinding, which is pretty good against bosses. I'll probably just get to 10% attack speed here. I don't really need to go into the blind part of it. But this is pretty insane for boss fighting. Increased damage against rare uniques, increased damage against rare and uniques, another set of increased damage for rare and uniques, and then an increased attack speed as well. And then this is like the two kickers right here. 25% increased Culling Strike threshold. So this is actually insane. If the Culling Strike threshold for uniques is 5%, and 25% increase of that is a quarter of 5. So what is that, like 1 point something or whatever? So it's like 7% or 6% or whatever, which is like, it's nice to have, but versus, you know, uniques, rares, it's a pretty big deal. And then doing extra damage as well against these rare uniques, inflicting them with ailments, having better accuracy, extra damage against them. Like, this is a full-on boss hunting build. So again, that's the target of kind of what I'm going for. I didn't really go through the skill tree beforehand, but everything's basically damage, AoE, and then I do want to get into a couple attack speed builds as well. I'll probably finish out these with attack speed and projectile damage. But that's kind of the setup for right now. So let me know what you guys think. I will probably test around Arctic Armor here. I was playing around with switching Glacial Bolt to Permafrost Bolt and seeing if I only needed a Permafrost instead of having to switch between Glacial to Frag Round to explode them. But that's definitely the way to go. Permafrost, only Permafrost by itself was not really doing too much damage. I needed the freeze with Glacial, then Frag Round them. Or I'd have to do Permafrost into Frag Rounds. So I'm definitely gonna be testing other things out as I continue, basically start the end game here. But this is kind of my first observation on the build. Definitely let me know what builds you guys are running. If there's any optimizations for this one, any different things to try. I know in the last video you guys helped out a ton and had great comments of things to try out. But it was awesome to hear from you guys. But I'll keep you updated. I'll keep you posted on this endgame build, and I'm also starting to work on a monk build too. I'm trying to do something a little different than a monk. I don't want to go in the freeze monk that everyone's doing. I do like my little niche off meta builds that might be fun to play. So I'm just starting that out in the campaign. But anyway, thank you guys. Peace.